Maybe he gets to win this time.
We've had some really exciting Scream 7 updates this week, with some new comments from cast member Ethan Embry and a new interview with director Kevin Williamson. In today's video, let's break it all down as well as dissecting some juicy new rumors. Now let's get into it. Hey everybody, I'm Killjoy Jake, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. Let's start off today's update video with something positive. Chatting with the New York Post, Williamson said, "I've always been on the fringes of the last few Scream movies as sort of the granddaddy of the franchise. They've been very kind to me and very welcoming. And then they allowed me to direct this one, and we had a blast. It was so nice to work with Courtney Cox and Sydney and tell a new story, so I hope people like it." When asked if he could reveal anything on Matthew Lillard's surprising return to the series, Kevin said, "Nothing. Not one word. But I will say I love Matthew, and it was such a pleasure to call him up. They let me be the one to call and ask them back to the franchise. And that was a really nice phone call. Sorry, Stu Truthers, no update yet on if the character is just coming back in flashbacks or if he's coming back alive with television-themed superpowers. I guess we won't know until it comes out. The most interesting thing from this interview was when Kevin talked about not having the Carpenter sisters in the movie. Speaking on it, Williamson said, "Watching all that go down, and I'm not even sure what happened. I can't really speak to it because I wasn't a part of it. The thing about Scream is it can live in any form, and you can return to a character like Sydney and Gale and tell that story. And then the next one can be about someone else. I really like this idea that Scream has evolved into a franchise that can expand in those ways." That last part is music to my ears. This tells me that if Scream 7 doesn't work out, which is a possibility, this is a film that unfortunately went through an entire script rehaul, and typically that doesn't bode very well for the majority of films that have gone through something similar, Kevin would be open to starting fresh once again. That has me excited to see him have a little more of an open mind about his franchise, and he's not just completely stomping out the last two films. I think it would be really fitting if Kevin was the one to direct the film that transitions this franchise into a new era of Scream, focusing on new characters who have a ghostface problem. He could usher in the new era of Scream while putting the Sidney Prescott story to bed with this new movie. I feel like franchise fans could get behind something like that, especially because it's coming from the original creator of this series. That might be the best way to do it. Before we jump into the juiciest and stinkiest part of this video, I real quickly want to ask you guys to subscribe to my gaming channel, GullGotha. We're playing a ton of horror-themed games over there, like the Terrifier arcade game, Dead by Daylight, and Repo. It would help us out immensely if we could get that channel to 1,000 subscribers, which we are very close to. Thank you all for your support. Now back to the video. There was also an exciting new interview with Scream 7 cast member Ethan Embry with Bloody Disgusting, where he talked a little bit about his original audition for the first Scream movie. Talking about his history with this series, Embry said, "The one thing I can tell you about Scream 7 was that it was absolutely incredible to be invited. That is a lovely community of people from the very beginning to what it is now, and I've been wanting to be a part of that franchise since the very beginning. I remember auditioning for Scream 1. I can't remember if it was for Jamie Kennedy or Matthew Lillard. It was one of those, but I remember not getting good feedback from Mr. Craven." Damn, that's gotta hurt coming from the master of horror, dude. Hey, at least Kevin Williamson's got you in this one, though. It is interesting to me that he was up for the part of one of the killers in the original Scream film, however. It makes you wonder if he's playing our Ghostface this time around. Speaking of which, some rumors have landed online surrounding his character. I greatly appreciate that Jude here follows me on Twitter, but let's take his words with a grain of salt, as he is a third-party source. For a little context before we get into this rumor, there's been one floating around for a while now that says that Gale is gonna run over some sort of mental patient, and that's gonna ultimately take her back to some sort of psychiatric hospital. I haven't really brought it up in videos as I don't really have any interesting ideas to throw at that kind of concept. Honestly, the whole situation comes off as kind of out of place for a Scream movie in my opinion, but hey, we'll see if it actually does happen on February 27th. For now, let's take it with a grain of salt, and we'll talk a little bit about it because that's fun. Concerning Ethan's character, Jude says, "Since everyone on here is convinced that Ethan Embry is the mental patient in Scream 7, let me clear it up, he's not. He plays an employee at the psychiatric hospital where Gale and Sydney investigate after Gale runs over the patient. The patient isn't a known actor at all." Whether you're digging this whole mental patient angle to Scream 7 or not, I definitely do think that Ethan Embry is going to have a smaller role in this film. Now, that doesn't mean he's not Ghostface, however. If you remember in Hard Eyes from earlier this year, a spyglass murder mystery, there was a really surprising and kind of laughable moment later on in the film with a one-note character. So anything can happen.
He's like Cupid with a kink.
Concerning Ethan Embry's career, he has played a plethora of characters. He was Rusty in Vegas Vacation. He plays a smaller role, but a good one in That Thing You Do, one of my all-time favorite movies outside of horror, and he plays kind of our lead bad guy, sort of, in the movie The Devil's Candy. If you haven't seen that one, I highly recommend it. It is a slight hidden gem. My very loose guess as to who Ghostface is this time around, at least one of them, is probably Anna Camp.
Scream 7. I mean, joining such an iconic franchise like that, come on.
Honestly, it was a dream come true because I had been a fan, obviously, of the Scream franchise since I was like in high school.
While I don't have a ton of logic to actually base this on, this set photo that came out of her in a black leather jacket is just screaming Ghostface reveal vibes. Also, I can totally see her playing Leslie Mocker, Stu's secret sister that we didn't know about until entry number 5. In my opinion, that should have just been a throwaway line in Scream 5, but I can totally see Scream 7 making it a whole thing. I don't know if I have a concrete guess as to who Ghostface is at this point. I mean, we haven't even seen any footage from the film yet, but the one thing that I am dead certain on is that it's going to be a killer that has some sort of personal stake in all the things that happened during the original Scream. Screams 5 and 6 made a point to say this franchise is always going to find a haphazard way to connect itself back to the 1996 events, and with the same writers on the new film, I'm certain that will be the case here too. Personally, that feels very predictable to me, but hopefully they find a way to surprise us on February 27th of next year. Hey everybody, before we sign off, please make sure to subscribe to this page for more updates on the current state of horror. Also, check out the merch store to show off your love of horror and lack of friends. Check it out by clicking on the link in the description of this video, or just heading over to my Fourth Wall store manually. Are you guys excited for Scream 7? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you all again for watching, please subscribe, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.